And on the outside, well, yawning there, but I'm sure he's up for it. I've been watching him the last 5 minutes. Jamie Webb of England. European indoor silver, European indoor bronze. Hasn't quite fired, though, this season as he has in previous years. Charlie Hunter of Australia, they're very excited about him. NCAA champion indoors last year. Went out in the heats in the world indoors earlier this year, though. Khalid St. John, PB in Texas in April. The Antiguan. Hopefully he can be inspired by this big morning crowd, as will be the case for Alex Beddoes of the Cook Islands. PB in the heats last year. Now, Toshipo Teshite, 3 times a national champion, the South African. Made the semis in Doha, but was really disappointed to go out in the heats in Eugene. Elias Ngani, 26 years of age. What a PB. And he's not too far behind that in terms of his season's best. Low 144s at altitude in Nairobi. Inside the Kenyan, Denick Luke of Dominica. National record in Kingston. And that 148 plus bits. And on the inside, almost a home introduction on a blue track with the blue vest. Scotland's Guy Learmonth, 6th in Glasgow over the 800 metres. Semis in London at the Worlds, but not close to his PB of 144.7 yet this season. And this is tough. Only the first 2 guaranteed a place in Sunday's final. Ngani is the fastest in the field this year, with Teshite not too far behind him. Kenyan in 4, South African in 5. So a different dynamic to this race as they are going straight down to the final. Webb on the outside. Ngani of Kenya not really interested in this pace at the moment as they break down the back straight. Jamie Webb having a good look across. Learmonth of Scotland has just got himself boxed. And it's Teshite leading, the compact figure from South Africa, looking very comfortable at the front.
Well, as you say, Rob, this is a completely different dynamic when it's just the first 2 going straight to the final. The South African happy to take this one out, dwarfed by those following behind. We'll keep an eye on the splits here. Guy Learmonth in the mix with his man bun for Scotland. Let's go through the first 400 metres.
55.4 at the bell in this first of 3 heats for the 800, and now it's the NCAA indoor champion from last year, Charlie Hunter of Australia, taking it on. Webb's in a good position here, but he's had a hit-and-miss season by his own high standards. If he can strike from here, he's well placed. Exactly the same could be said for Learmonth. You can hardly see Teshite, but he's on the inside, and he's boxed at the moment. Hunter winding it up inside 200 to go. Webb's face is a picture of concentration. And now comes Elias Ngani, who was 5th in the African Championships in Mauritius, trying to come wide on the outside. This is the best we've seen from Jamie Webb all season. The Englishman hanging on, so too Guy Learmonth. Watch for the Kenyan, but he can't get there. A brilliant run by the 2 home athletes. Jamie Webb through to the final, and so too Guy Learmonth, who, by the way, hadn't run inside 147 until today this season. Excellent work by the Englishman and the Scot. Ngani and Teshite, the Kenyan and the South African, will run out of it. Webb and Learmonth will be in the Commonwealth final on Sunday, and they are delighted.
Well, understandably so. Both have had hit-and-miss seasons, troubled seasons, not at their best, as you say. And Ngani, the Kenyan, made his move, didn't he? Let's not forget he's a 144 athlete this season, but Jamie Webb put his foot down, kind of Keely Hodgkinson style there, and just took off like an absolute rocket. Really good running by the English athlete and the Scottish athlete. Hunter, the Australian, was happy to lead it out with 200 metres to go, but watch Jamie Webb here. Hit the 200-metre point, would have had directions from his coach, and off he went. See a little bit of tussling behind as Ngani, the Kenyan, tried to get himself in a position. A glance across from Learmonth of Scotland on the right, who was boxed in at that point. But look at that, a little glance up, Rob, and off he goes. And brilliant qualification from the English athlete and from Learmonth of Scotland.
I was watching Jamie Webb all the way round quite intently, and he kept darting his eyes to the athlete who was leading on the inside. And stuck his tongue out there as he crossed the line. A little bit cheeky, but a bit of adrenaline flowing. He was fully focused on the job in hand there. It wasn't necessarily easy for him starting on the outside, but he showed really good tactical awareness and composure. Limping was having to work a little bit. It's not fast. 1:48, yeah, there's the tongue. 1:48.8 to 1:49.15. Obviously, you'd imagine they'd have to run a lot faster than that in the final, but you can only react to the way the tactics unfold in front of you, and that was a tough old race from which to qualify, and they've both done a really good job, despite coming in here undercooked by each of their respective high standards.
Yeah, middle distance races at major championships are all about the medals, and it's an absolute treat when you get the medals and fast times, which we've had obviously recently in the last couple of years. But that was a good move there by Learmont. Look at that, got himself onto the shoulder of the Australian. A little bit of rocking and rolling from the Scottish athlete, but job done in tough qualifying conditions. Nice little rest up now for those two home nation athletes.
Jamie Webb and Guy Learmont will be in the 800-metre final on Sunday. What a climax that will be to a fabulous 6 days of athletics. Ngeni and Tashite will have to wait and see, but with 1:49.5 and 49.8, I'm not sure the Kenyan or the South African will make it through for either of the non-automatic spots.
Boafab of Papua New Guinea is up for her third attempt in the heptathlon. This is her final attempt in the long jump. Boafab had a great first day yesterday with a few PBs. She'll be looking for another one today in the long jump, but based on that body language, I'm not sure she's entirely happy with that one. She did look to slow a little bit into the board on that one, and sometimes that can happen when you're sighting the board. You forget to just maintain your speed. You have to make a decision. Is it better to maintain speed and risk a foul, or to risk a lower distance? 4 meters, 4.41 meters.
Well, the athletes out on the track for the second heat of the men's 800 meters. Just 3 heats. It's a pretty tough, severe qualifying, going from heats straight to the final at Commonwealth level. And well, no, Elias Nyen or Ngeni, however it is correctly pronounced. There was a very famous Nyen a couple of decades back. May not go through from that first heat. There is another Kenyan in this race, Cornelius Tuwai. There's the lineup for Heat 2. Navaske Anderson of Jamaica went out in the heat of the World Championships. Daratigo of Uganda is their champion this year. Masilo of Botswana was in there. Tuwai of Kenya went out in the heats 4 years ago. Nathan Hood of Grenada will struggle here, I suspect. Peter Bol of Australia, well, finest at the World Championships. 4th placer in Tokyo last year, should qualify here. And Judah Corriette of Dominica goes in this one as well. And there is Judah Corriette, goes in lane 8, the 25-year-old, went out in the heats 4 years back, best of 154.8 this year. There is Peter Bol, embraced by Australia. His story, his journey to Australian citizenship is fundamentally the Australian journey. Born in Sudan, 3 times the Australian champion though now, and the 4th placer in Tokyo last year. Nathan Hood goes in lane 6 for Grenada. His personal best was a national record back in April, 148.2. Cornelius Tuwai of Kenya, 4th in their Kenyan championships back in April, but with 144.6 this year, he's 7th ranked in Kenya. They have such amazing depth. Putumelo Masilo of Botswana has had very few races this year, but he is a 145 performer, 145.7, his lifetime best this year. Tom Dradiga of Uganda, a semi-finalist in the African Championships a month or so back in those games, which were very, very tough mid-season championships prior to the Worlds for many of the African athletes. Navaske Anderson went out in his heat of the World Championships. He is the Jamaican champion, 145.02 this year, and actually second in the NCAA Championships back in June. in a national record, breaking a 53-year-old Jamaican record at 800 metres. Really good young athlete, Navaski Anderson. Watch him, broke Byron Dice's 53-year-old Jamaican record. So, heat 2. Only the first 2 go through by right. Everything to play for in that first heat was dreadfully slow. Remember, they made 855.4, and the winning time, well, 148.8 by Jamie Webb. So there's an opportunity for the athletes in these second and third heats. Remember, this is the second of 3. To go out pretty hard, run aggressively, and you could get through if you place in 4th position. And it is Tuwai, very experienced, who hits the front. Already 13 800s this outdoor season by Tuwai. He's should certainly be in the racing mould. Whether or not he's tired is another matter. He set his season's best in Nairobi back on the 25th of June. And he's keeping this reasonably honest. I think this will be a little bit quicker, Rob, than the first heat at 400.
I couldn't agree more, Tim. I had a check, and 6 of the 7 athletes in this have run faster than Jamie Webb did to win the first of the heats. So it's in all their interest to make this an honest pace, and it is way quicker than the first of the heats. And look how majestic Tuwai looks. I mean, you said he's only the 7th ranked Kenyan in the world this year from their nation, and he's an absolutely majestic looking 800 metre runner, and so too is Peter Bol. What a talent this Australian is as he hits the front.
200 metres to run, then 51.7 at the bell. Bol looking very strong indeed. He is the class act here. I think he was frustrated at his 7th place at the World Championships. He's been in better form than that. I know his agent is staying just a few miles from here in a hotel and has been suffering from COVID, unfortunately. Watching this on TV as Bol with a 5 metre lead looks very comfortable there. Botswana's Masilo coming through for his 2nd place there, and the Jamaican Anderson in 3rd, and the Kenyan run right out of the automatic places. 147.01 for Bol, so he of course will go through from this 2nd heat. But goodness me, the Kenyans are not performing well so far in the 2 heats gone so far. And there is another Kenyan, the defending champion, Wycliffe Kimnyamal, goes in the 3rd heat in a few minutes' time. Let's hope he's in better form, frankly, competitively. But that's a very comfortable win, and just what he needs, Peter Bol. A nice pipe opener there, and they've got a long break after this until the final.
Huge amount of recovery time. I'm really excited to see what Navaski Anderson can do in that final. He should be okay finishing outside the top 2. He's on 147.79, so he and Tuwai will be comfortably ahead of the 2 who are occupying the non-automatic spots from the first of the heats. But Peter Bol, it is a fantastic story, and he really went for it in that Tokyo final last year. I think he was leading till about 50 to go. It was a brave bid to win that gold medal for Australia. He looks really good here. So comfortable down that last 50 metres. The Jamaican Anderson was just coming under a little bit of pressure after an inspired performance from Masilo. And Tuwai, yeah, considering that he's run a 144 at altitude this year, he looked very tired in 4th place, but he does occupy the 2nd of the non-automatic spots at the moment. But how good was that from Bol?
Bol glancing around, looking very comfortable indeed. As I said, just what you need, really. A little blowout, probably about 85% effort, 90% effort to ease across the line in 147.0. And he has got the gears. His training has been going superbly, and I don't think we saw a true reflection of his ability with that 7th place in Eugene. I know he was desperately disappointed with his run in the semis. He only got through as a non-automatic qualifier to the final at the World Championships, but clearly here, glancing around as the others battle behind, he's a class apart, and he, I would say, is one of the favourites for the title, if not for the gold. It will be really interesting to see how the 3rd Kenyan, Kinyamal, the defending champion, goes in the next heat. We must remember that he is the 2nd fastest in the world, Kinyamal. He will be a handful. And he might be the only Kenyan to make it through to the final after that run. Tuwai there, 148.66 in 4th place. The opportunity is there for the athletes in the 3rd and final heat, but will they take it to go out hard? Yeah, considering that's a battling 4th in Tokyo last year. Peter Bol has been quite a character in Australia over this last year since Tokyo.
Now, there has been a disqualification. It's a real shame. Luke Dennick of Dominica, foot on the inside of the line, and you cannot do that before breaking from lanes. So he is not listed as an official finisher from the first of the semi-finals or heats, whatever you want to call them. It's still Jamie Webb and Guy Limmer, and they will be the only two from that first heat. The non-automatic qualifiers will be coming, possibly, from the second heat, or maybe the third, if they can make that fast enough. Cracking attendance again this morning. A great day of athletics unfolding. Confirmation, Peter Bol and Massilo taking the automatic spots. Anderson and Tuai are okay at the moment, but there are quick enough men in that third semi-final to deny them the non-automatic spots.
Well, you can't take any chances generally. You have to get into the automatic qualifying spots. It's always horrible to be sitting and waiting for actions of others. It takes it out of your hands.
Right, we're picking up with Holly Mills' third attempt. She started the day 2 points behind Australia's Tracy. She's just watched Tracy jump a personal best of 6 meters 23. What can Holly do? That one did look to be farther. It's really hard in these moments because you have to find a way to respond to the competition, and yet if you stray too far from what you've been doing, obviously you risk going over the board. The precision is what matters. This is where coming back to your coach is really important, because they can give you that 1 or 2 cues that can then extend and get you those extra 10 or 20 points. It's an improvement for Holly. Well done for her for responding.
So back onto the track for the final heat of the men's 800 meters. Here's the start list. And as Tim Hutchins alongside me just said, will these athletes take the opportunity and run the times that are needed to get themselves into the Commonwealth final? They know exactly what needs to be done. Webb of England's won a heat, Bol of Australia. Mankor of Ghana starts on the outside. His second Commonwealth Games, a 30-year-old, 145 this year. See at his best, he has a 144 personal best. Handel Roban of St Vincent and the Grenadines lines up in lane number 7, just 19 years old. That personal best set this year of 148.31. Wycliffe Kamal of Kenya in his second Games, the reigning champion, one of the fastest men in the world this year, looking relaxed, the Kenyan, flying the flag. Nicholas Landau, the national champion of Trinidad and Tobago, joins us in lane number 5. And there'll be a big roar in lane number 4. He was 4th at the national championships. England's Ben Patterson, the 20-year-old, asking for more noise here in Birmingham, in great form this year, 144.6. Masalela of Botswana, the 23-year-old, joins us in lane number 3, the 146 runner at his best. And Kamel Prince of Guyana holds their national record indoors at 146.35. Lines up in lane number 2. There's the current qualifiers by time. The 2 fastest non-automatic times. 148.66. Tuai of Kenya holding on to that spot, and his teammate now lining up in lane number 6. Starting his journey to defend his Commonwealth title, but first he's got to negotiate 2 laps of Alexander Stadium. So Patterson of England, the familiar colours in lane number 4. Getting already onto the shoulder of Landau of Trinidad and Tobago. See the little green cones, that's where the athletes can now cut across. And let's see then, Tim, if they're up and running in terms of speed and they're running smart.
Well, I don't know if they're running smart enough. I mean, that was about 25.5 at 200 metres. Remember the second heat. First heat went through 455 and bits, second heat 51.7, and then it eased off to a much slower second lap. Bit of a clash there on the outside. But I'm not sure this is quick enough, Kath, as they come into the straight with, what, 450 to run. Masalela is controlling things for Botswana. And it's okay, but it's not super quick.
No, it's not. It's going to sit between those first two heats, isn't it? 54.18 at 400 metres. Let the burn-up begin. Prince of Guyana happily sitting on the shoulder, sitting into second place. English athlete Patterson's got a little bit of work to do here, but now they're cranking it up. And the Botswanan happy to hold the inside line with a couple of 100 metres to go. Patterson making his move, the English athlete, as is the Ghanaian. Amankwa looking to get in the mix, but here comes the speed of Kinyamal of Kenya. Maybe the hopes of the Kenyan nation are relying on this guy to get into the Commonwealth final. Ben Patterson of England is having a super run. Amankwa's still trying to get there from Ghana, but Ben Patterson, at 20 years old, stops the clock at 1:48 exactly. What a season this guy is having. An amazing season. European junior silver medalist in the under-20 category in 2019, but a brilliant run from the English athlete.
Well, I'll tell you what, Britain is blessed with such an amazing array. Great strength in depth in middle distance at the moment. Ben Patterson there at 20, holding the defending champion Wycliffe Kinyamal, who we know is in great shape, down the home straight there when both of them were flat out, foot on the floor, no quarters being given. Patterson just keeping him at bay by half a metre or so for the last 80 or 90 metres, saying, I've got the same gears as you, son. You might be 5 years older than me, you might be the reigning Commonwealth champion, but right now in this heat, I can match you, and that was mighty impressive. I even thought at one point Kinyamal might get caught, but Patterson goes through okay and ensures that 3 English athletes make it through to the final.
Well, he ran smart. Look on the left of his shot there, Patterson. 4th at those British National Championships, as I mentioned. Just a 1:46 clocking on that occasion. But once again, the 200-metre point sorted these guys out. He got himself into a great position. Amankwa, the Ghanaian, on the outside was trying to charge, but he had nothing left. But he finished in 3rd, the Ghanaian, 1:48.26. And I think that might be good enough to go through along with Anderson of Jamaica. But look at this from Ben Patterson. And you have to say that Kinyamal was having to make sure there, Tim, that he put his foot and kept it on the gas to get an automatic spot.
That's what I was going to say, Kath. Yeah, that was very competitive, wasn't it, down the home straight? I mean, again, for athletes of this caliber, 1:48 is slowish running, and although it was, you know, it wasn't quick at the bell, it was 54.1, so there was always going to be a burn-up over the last 150 or so. I think I said just now, by the way, 3 English athletes made it through to the final. Of course, there are only 2 in this discipline. Patterson here, Ben Patterson and Jamie Webb, they're both through okay. But, yeah, that was interesting, and I think, you know, if it comes down, Kath, to a tactical final, a 1:47, 1:48 race, it's anybody's race because it becomes a test of speed over the last 150. The guys like Kinyamal have got to make that final fast.
Well, that's why, as a former sprinter, middle distance races fascinate me, because sometimes it's not the best person in terms of talent and times on their statistic that wins because of the nature of how they're run. But you know what it was for me? The way Ben Patterson ran that was very, very mature. I was really, really impressed with his tactics. The time is irrelevant, as you say. It's not fast at 1:48, but it was the manner in which he won that heat and his tactical awareness that was impressive.
And it's a warning sign, too, for the likes of Kinyamal, a very experienced racer, that he cannot take for granted. He will have the speed, the power over the last 200 in a slowish final race. You know, Peter Bol, I think, as well, will probably want a healthy pace, but I wonder who'll take it out.
Heat number 3 then, Ben Patterson of England, 1:48 exactly. The Kenyan, and indeed Amankwa of Ghana, did get one of those 2 non-automatic qualifying spots.
And in so doing, he denied Tuai a spot in the final. So Tim Hutchings was right. Just one Kenyan in the mix. Wycliffe Kinyamal, arguably Peter Bol the favourite perhaps, but they've got to make sure it's fast. The likes of England's Ben